Good morning. Talking to you today about the stuff that I'm going to use on the PCT. I'm also going to kind of close up my AT gear review by showing you the things that I ended the AT with and why I won't be using those on the PCT. All right, let's get to it. If you've watched any of my AT videos, you know that I took this pack with me on the AT. I loved it. It's still holding strong, and I'll be taking it on the PCT as well. This is my Outdoor Vitals Shadow Light 45 liter pack. We'll get back to that in just a minute. The other thing I talked about a lot on the AT, I have these Sea Tug or Chicken Tramper Ultralight Gear water bottle holders. I love these things. They're great because then I've got one on each side of my pack. I've got the 2 water bottles there. And like I said, my Shadow Light also has pockets on the outside where I can hold extra water bottles, which is gonna be great on the PCT because I am gonna have to be carrying a lot of water. And this time I've also got a set of sunglasses that I can bring along. On the PCT, I'll be wearing contacts. On the AT, I wore my glasses that had sunglasses in them. We'll see which turns out to be best. Okay, so there's my pack. I still have the same liner in my pack that I did on the AT. I might change it out, maybe not. We'll see. It's still going strong. Why from the landfill? This is just a compactor bag. It keeps everything nice and tight in there and really dry. So that's that. There's my pack. Same air pad that I used on the AT. I'm going to be using my Big Agnes Ultra Air Core. I love this. It's a little bit heavier than most people like to bring, but it is so comfortable. It's got an R value of, I think it's 4.5. And so it's really warm, and I'm a side sleeper. It's perfect for side sleeping. It's awesome. On the AT, I used my Big Agnes Copper Spur bike packing tent that I got from REI, and I loved that tent. It was a freestanding tent. I loved the ease of it. It was amazing. It had plenty of space in it. The problem with that tent for the PCT is that it was a little heavier than I need to be carrying with all the water carries that we're going to be doing. Also, I'm going to be going on the PCT with my husband. I was solo on the AT, and so we needed to have a tent that was more comparable to both of us. And so what we decided to do was go with the Big Agnes carbon fiber, and it is the Fly. I'll have to put the name of the tent underneath. I can't remember anymore. Thanks to Gus Cornell. He was somebody on the PCT website that was offering Tyvek. We've got Tyvek for underneath our tent for our footprint. So when I was on the AT, I moved over from a Nemo 20-degree bag, and it was actually really comfortable. The problem with that bag was that it took up, I believe, 9 liters of space in my pack, which is just way too much for everything that we have to carry. So then midway through, I went to the Outdoor Vitals 15-degree quilt, and I loved it. It only takes up maybe 2 liters of space. That might even be more than what it takes up. But what I did find was when I went on the Pinhoti Trail after the AT, I found that some nights I was a little cold when it was, 20 degrees, maybe 19 degrees. And so I decided that rather than carrying more clothes, I would prefer to just go a little bit warmer with my quilt. So I got this 0-degree quilt from Outdoor Vitals. It's the same quilt, only just a little bit warmer. And we've tested it out. It is actually too warm in Oregon right now to test it out properly because I think our temps out here are no colder than 30 degrees. So it's even too warm for that. I also got rid of my heavier liner, and I went with a silk liner this time. It's just a basic one that I got from REI. I believe the brand is Sea to Summit, and it's just that extra added warmth layer, and I like that. I like having a sleeping bag liner, not to mention the fact that even if it wasn't to keep me a little bit warmer, it is amazing to just keep your sleeping bag or your quilt clean. Okay, now to look at my sleeping clothes. This hat I got at Mount Washington on the AT. ever since I got this. I have not switched hats. This is so warm, it's so awesome, and it's super cute. This is my Outdoor Vitals Dragon Wool mid layer. I love this. It is super warm when you're sleeping. It's perfect. I've never really needed anything warmer besides this and my puffy. However, we are going to experience some colder temperatures. So I did also add a silk layer, and hopefully it won't get cold enough that we need more. But for now, I'm going with a silk layer. And then on the AT, I had this Eddie Bauer puffy, but I've recently just gotten a new one. That one just held the smell too much. It was still warm the entire time we were on the trail. It was perfect. It just smelled a little bit too much. And being as how the price is only sort of like $30 at Costco, I went ahead and got a new one. This time, rather than gray, I'm going with blue. It wasn't really a choice. That's all they had. Still bringing my booties, my down booties that I got from Amazon. Super cool name. And they're really warm. Wouldn't do a hike without them. I've got my extra pair of Darn Tough socks that I always carry a second pair for nighttime. I also, so these are different compression socks than I used on the AT, but still like my nighttime compression socks. They really help with recovery. And yeah, so I definitely wouldn't do without those. Same as the AT, just a different, an upgraded pair because they were getting worn out. I'm going with a merino wool base layer for the bottoms. I did notice on the Pinhoti Trail that I did need a second layer for my bottoms while sleeping. And the wool tends to be really nice. It's a 250 weight, I believe, and it should keep me nice and toasty. If I need a second layer, but also or an extra layer sitting in camp or just windy mornings, whatever, I've got my Frog Tog set. Now, the Frog Togs that I used on the AT and the Pinhoti, I did get rid of. They were kind of ripped up. Again, I got them used when I was on the AT, so they were already kind of ripped up when I first got them. Then I went through the whites with them, and so they needed to be changed out. So I got a Frog Togs jacket and the trousers. Now, I know some people complain about the Frog Togs, that a lot of people use them. They're not really worth anything. To me, I don't really like to hike in them. I like to use them once I get into camp so that I can keep a warm layer on and keep the wind off of me. Sometimes I put them over my warm clothes, whatever, but I do know that the kind of rain that we'll have in possibly the Sierras or in the desert area, if we're hiking in it, it may be too cold to hike in. And so this is always a possibility as well. They're very lightweight. I really just have no problem with Frog Togs at all. All right, and then I got some waterproof gloves. These are Sealskins. I got them from Amazon. They were on a bit of a sale. I think I got them for $30. But we've tried them. My husband and I have tried them out walking around in Oregon in the cold rain. We've also just run them strictly underwater to see if they would get wet, and we've probably kept running water on them for about 3 minutes and we still stayed dry. When we were out hiking and it was raining on us and it was cold, our hands stayed nice and toasty. So my hands aren't usually warm in gloves, so that was actually not only surprising, but it was a nice thing to discover. Okay, so these are my hiking clothes. I always hike in Darn Tough socks. You know, if you've watched any of my videos, I do not use liners. My feet, thankfully, knock wood, I've been really blessed with feet that I only need to put a layer of Vaseline on my feet, and I keep wearing the same socks until I wash them, except I do change them out at night. But yeah, just Vaseline and Darn Tough socks. It's perfect for me. I changed out my gaiters only because I think I went through 3 pair of gaiters on the AT. They were just some brand that I found on Amazon. They were great for what they were supposed to be. I happened to find these at REI. they were on sale, and so I just grabbed them. That's the only reason I changed brands. But yeah, I love having these. They do keep out the nuisance, and especially I'm expecting in the sand, it might be even more of a necessity than when we were hiking in the pine needles on the AT. Another thing that I will have on, or at least have handy for the desert, is this pair of sun gloves. A lot of people talk about the sun gloves and just the necessity of these in the desert. I'm bringing them. I don't normally like to have things on my hands, but we'll see. I don't want to ruin my skin, so we'll see how they work. Hopefully really well. Those are obviously in addition to what I had on the AT. We didn't really need those in the green tunnel. I changed out my buff about midway through on the AT, and I did get this Appalachian Trail buff, and so I will be bringing that. I do actually have another buff for nighttime, which I guess I didn't have in my nighttime stuff right now, and it's just the same baseball buff that I had on the AT. And it's really nice to have a different one for nighttime than you do for sweating in the daytime. Then I'll be wearing, I wore Under Armour shorts on the AT. I'm wearing Under Armour running shorts again. I just changed them out because they were in need of being changed after, 2,200 miles. I'll be bringing a sun shirt, but I don't know that I'll be starting out in it. It's very lightweight. I think it's 2 ounces. It's one that I got, I believe, at REI or maybe the thrift shop. Really lightweight. I'm bringing that just in case. I don't want to get sunburn or anything like that, but generally I do not like things touching my arms. For this hike, I am bringing a dry fit tank rather than a t-shirt like I had last time. I couldn't find one with a really cool saying on it. Last time I got this. I didn't really find anything I was completely stoked about, so I'm just going with a plain tank top this time. I'm also adding to my repertoire a bandana, only because one thing that I kept finding on the AT, I always had sweat dripping down in my face. And with glasses, it was much worse. On the PCT, I won't be wearing glasses, but it is nice to just have something to help get the sweat out. Also, there are some days where I was tired of wearing a hat on the AT, and if the wind is blowing or whatever, I've got to have something to keep my hair out of my face. So one final addition that I did not have on the AT, but I will be bringing on the PCT, is my Six Moons Designs umbrella. It's sort of the mid version, I guess. It's the $30 version, didn't have the carbon spines in there, and it was fine. It was probably 3 or 4 ounces more, but ultimately there was a sale on this one, so I just ended up with this one. I did try the $60 one, but when I got it home, I realized that it actually was just for rain, not for sun as well. So this is the one I'm keeping, and I really, really am happy with it. My hike this time is dedicated to veterans and helping veterans and saving lives. And so one of the charities that I'm going to be raising money for on this hike is actually Mission 22. The other one is Stop Soldier Suicide. Both of them are aimed at helping veterans deal with mental health issues. I will be wearing this flag on the back of my pack. So if you see me out there and you're a veteran, hey, give me a shout. If you're out there and you support veterans, give me a shout. If you're out there and you're curious about more information, give me a shout. All right, last but not least, regarding my food, is my Jetboil stove. I had this on the AT. I love this thing. My husband is gonna be coming with me. He's gonna carry the fuel, but we're gonna carry a little bit more fuel than we normally did on the AT because there's 2 of us and we're gonna encounter some high winds. So that larger fuel canister does not fit inside here, just the small one. Okay, electronics. So my InReach Mini, just like I had on the AT. My headlamp, nothing special, just like I had on the AT. It's all rechargeable. I've got some cords, which, I just keep those in my bag of bags, and I probably carry about 3 extra baggies. And then I've got my Anchor. It's a 30,000, and it's got this charge system here where you can use the magnetic charging. It also tells you how much battery is left, but so far that's lasted a little bit more than 7 days of being on trail. It's perfect because my watch can charge on there, my earbuds can charge on there, as well as the Garmin, my headlamp, and my phone. And because of the fact that it's got the magnetic charging, I can charge my phone and the inReach or something at the same time. I use Picardin every day. All my gear is treated with permethrin. On the AT, there were a lot of people around me coming down with Lyme disease and everything like that. And I'm not saying that it was the Picardin and permethrin, but I definitely feel like it helped me to avoid getting anything like that. Hopefully it will continue to be help me be resilient. And then I have a bug net. I know there are places in the desert you'll need the bug net, and then obviously Oregon, Washington. And last but definitely not least, I have my Canuck. Some people call it Seanock, but I say Canuck bag. My Sawyer, it's the Sawyer Squeeze. I love this thing. I feel very confident with the capabilities of this. When we get to the Sierras, well, actually, from the sounds of it, when we get into the San Jacintos, we're going to need our micro spikes and crampons. So I am actually going to, I feel like right now at the moment, I'm going to carry these along as well. They are sort of about 14 ounces, so almost an extra pound. So obviously I didn't need these on the AT. This will be an addition for the PCT. And this is an addition. I did not bring this on the AT or the Pinhoti, but like I said, it's kind of a luxury item, but I really, really love this. These are our boxes. They're just shoved in our closet right now in the hallway. We had a lot of food in our house, and originally we were going to sell our house, and so we were trying to get rid of everything, and we didn't want to just throw away trail bars and things like that. But I had a lot from when I was going on the Pinhoti, and so what I did was I just made up several boxes, and we're going to go ahead and send this to ourselves in Washington. There's apparently a lot of places in Washington that are more difficult to try and resupply. So we thought we'd do that. We might, like I said, we'll send ourselves some stuff in the Sierras and maybe halfway through the desert, and that's it. Most of the other stuff we just get on our own, and that's the fun of it, really. So that's different from what I did on the AT. On the AT, I completely was self-supported along the trail. I didn't have any boxes sent to me at all because I didn't like the idea of trying to make it into towns when the post office was going to be open. I just really didn't want to put that kind of pressure on myself. I got my new hat for trail. This one is still a Boston hat, but it's camo. I'm representing veterans out there, and that's myself and my husband as well.